Welcome, welcome, welcome to Bible Wisdom with Mike Murdoch, a man in love with the Bible and called to encourage Bible lovers everywhere. And now, here's Mike Murdoch.
Precious Father, thank you for the privilege of being here with my family 7 nights a week on the radio. Thank you for the Bible. Thank you for your blood that you shed on the cross. Thank you for your mercy that endures forever. Thank you for every healing, every miracle. Thank you for your provision. Thank you for your protection, Lord. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Holy God. Mike Murdoch here at my piano in my home. Thank you, my holy God. I love your presence. I love your mercy. You have been so good to me. I thank you, Holy God. I was thinking of Jimmy Swaggart today. One of my special blessings in life. He's with the Lord now. We talked so long, a few days before his passing. Nancy Harmon, a great musician and evangelist, walked in my room in Los Angeles, my office, and says, "Michael, I can't get a sentence out of my mind. Jesus, just the mention of your name." And I was sitting at the piano, and I immediately went into Jesus, just the mention of your name. Flowers grow, the desert blooms again. He's like fire in winter cold. He's like pure, precious gold. Oh, Jesus, just the mention of your name. And I sent a little voice recorder, a little tape recorder to Jimmy, and I get a phone call back. "Michael, Jimmy Swaggart." He said, "I just got your song." I said, "Do you like it?" He said, "Like it?" He said, "I love it. It could be the greatest song ever written. I'm going to put it all over the world." And Jimmy Swaggart began to sing Jesus, just the mention of your name, all over the world. People called, they wrote, they said, thousands. One night I was in one, 10,000 people jumped to their feet when he started singing that song. Jesus is real, family. Jesus is very real. I wrote a song too. It's no secret, I'm in love with a man called Jesus. With a man called Jesus. It's no secret, he changed my world. He took all my sins away. I'm in love with my King. And I could tell many stories about the thousands of songs that God's put in my heart. I'm holding in my hand book number 6. Book number 6, the 6th book I ever wrote, called Creating Tomorrow Through Seed Faith. I was 21 years old, sitting on the 4th row of a pastor's conference in a little town called Victoria, Texas. And by the way, you might want to download this book. I'm moving from paperback to downloads. And if you go to my website, MikeMurdochBooks.com, MikeMurdochBooks.com, we have free books. We have them as low as $2. But you'll love this book, number 6, Creating Tomorrow Through Seed Faith. I'm going to be sharing with you some of the facts about seed faith. In Genesis chapter 8, verse 22, he said, as long as the earth remaineth, when you sow seeds, you're going to get a harvest. Love is a seed. Money is a seed. Time is a seed. Encouragement is a seed. Anything that you have to bless somebody is a seed. There was a time I only thought of seeds as being, the apple tree, oranges, bananas. But as I began to grow in life, I found out that the word seed means beginning. God had a son, but he wanted a family. So he planted Jesus as a seed on the cross. And here we all are as a Bible family together, a Jesus family. Teaching is a seed. Mentorship is a seed. I was 21. I'd been in the evangelistic work about a year and a half or so. One month my income was $35 for the month. One month it was $90 for the month. My house had been purchased by my father for $150. He bought the house for $150. They said if he would move it, he could have the house. I lived there till I was 28 years old. My bedroom suit cost $35. We bought it from a man in my dad's church. The year was 1967, and my car was a 1953 Chevrolet. 840 Assemblies of God preachers were in that room in Victoria, Texas, about 200 miles from my hometown, Lake Charles, Louisiana. A preacher named Charles Greenaway was preaching, and he began to tell a story from the book of Leviticus. The name of his sermon was, How Big is Your Corner? How big is the corner of your finances that you give to God? I leaned over to a preacher friend of mine and I said, well, my corner's 10%. It's the tithe. He nodded. Me too. And Brother Greenaway said, the bigger that you make your corner to God, the bigger God will make your field of financial income. I'd never heard anything like that in my life. I sat under my father's pastoral ministry 18 years before I went to college, and I'd never heard this in my life. And he kept saying, the bigger that you make your corner, the bigger God will make your field. Huh. People begin to stand and make faith promises to missionaries. There was about 8,000 preachers in the Assemblies of God. I think at that time I was ordained in the Assemblies of God. Almost everybody had stood, and I was one of the last, and I stood 6 feet tall, 180 pounds, and I said to Dr. Greenaway, if God gives me $100 within 12 months, I will sow it. couldn't hardly sleep that night. I couldn't hardly drive home. I couldn't shake it out of my mind. Where on earth is Mike going to get $100 to help missionaries? It was the first teaching I had ever heard in my lifetime about the blessing of the Lord, doing business with God, sowing for a desired result. Oral Roberts told me many years later that it was the number one secret of his life is sowing a seed to get a desired harvest from God. My father told me when he was 80 years old, he had never heard of that in his life. He said, son, if somebody would have taught your mother and me about seed faith, sowing to get a harvest, he said, my whole ministry would have been different. But we never heard that. Remember my wisdom keys? What you don't hear, you don't know. What you don't hear twice, you don't remember. Sunday morning, my father's church, all that I could think about is where am I going to get $100? Where am I going to get $100? 1 month my income was $35, 1 month it was $90. My entire income the previous year was $2,263. A man named Merle Daly, I've shared this story several times around the world, because it's where my world changed radically. A man named Merle Daly came to my father's church from Houston, Texas. Old man, about 55 years old. I was like 21. He stood and said, family, I've sold so many records. My pockets are full of $100 bills. We all stared, never had heard anything like that. And suddenly he said, Mike just told me, God just told me to give Mike one of the $100 bills. And I stared in shock. He walked over to me and handed me a $100 bill. I stared. The next day I sent the $100 offering to South Texas Assemblies of God Headquarters District Council, Post Office Box 9714, Houston, Texas. Tuesday I drove to a little church called First Assembly of God Church. James Brothers was the pastor, and I was starting a crusade there on Tuesday night. As I drove through the town, I saw a beautiful little trailer with a for sale sign of $100. And the devil whispered to my heart, if you hadn't have paid your faith promise, you could have bought this trailer. It was a dream trailer for me to put my clothes in when I traveled between churches. It was a dream trailer. I could put my PA system in there when I set them up at the churches. But the devil whispered that. And I said out loud to him, you're right. If I hadn't have paid my faith promise, I could have bought this. I start setting up my equipment. I'm sitting at the piano about 6:30. Nobody else there but me. An old man and his young wife walked in. I didn't know it. I'd never seen them before. They sat there smiling. She walks up to me at the piano and says, Brother Mike, my name is Lillian. My husband is with me God told us to give you an offering. And the check was $150. I still see it, gray and purple. I said, oh, ma'am, I said, this is God. I said, I saw a little trailer on the way through Beeville that I've been wanting for months for my ministry. And it cost $100. This is more than enough. And she smiled, went back to her seat. The next day I went and I bought that little trailer, thanking the Lord, praising Him. And I had $50 left over. I was only 21, so I'm sitting there thinking, okay, if this sewing, like Dr. Greenway said, really works this fast, I need to work it as long as I can. So I went to the post office and sent the extra $50 to P.O. Box 9714, Houston, Texas. Brother Mike, you gave the extra money? Well, yes, I'd never known anything like that. The next night I'm playing the piano before service, and she walks up and says, Brother Mike, God told us to buy that trailer for you too. And she hands me another check for $100. The exact amount of my faith promise. If I told you all the miracles, you wouldn't believe me. The following Sunday night, a man walks up in San Antonio during the altar call, shoves something in my hand. I open my hand. It's $100 bill. $100 bill. And I said, oh, my brother, you have no idea what this means to me. And he says, real rough, a little short guy. His name was Bill Smith. His wife was Connie, the daughter of a great pastor in Dallas. Later, I spent nights in their home in Madrid, Spain, and we became friends, but that's the first time. He says, when God tells you to do something, you have to do it. My world changed. That elderly couple, W.L. Bradford and his wife, Lillian, bought me a beautiful 31-foot Airstream travel trailer. Today it cost over $160,000. They bought it for me, for my ministry. My world changed with $100 faith promise. $100 faith promise. I gotta sing a song to you. You're gonna love this book. It's book 6. Go to my website, Mike Murdoch Books. When I open my hands, God opens the windows of heaven. When I open my hands, God opens the windows of heaven. When my God makes a promise, He always does what He says. When I open my hand, God always opens the heavens. When I open my hands, I feel like crying, thinking, everything we have comes from God. The seeds in our hand come from God. The gifts, the skills God gives us. The songs God gives me. I was shocked when the most famous, Mick Jagger, the most famous rock and roll star, put my songs in his movies. When I open my hands, God will open His windows. My world changed at the $100 faith promise. 21 years old. If I told you every miracle, you would sit there and say, Surely you're making this up. God, strike me dead if I'm not telling you truth from my heart, my life. I did not know that the Jesus number was 100 until I read what he told Peter in Mark chapter 10. I did not know. I've got 8 minutes left here on my little time with you. I want you to get some things real straight in your life. Everything you have came from God. Tomorrow night I may tell you about the Walmart story. It's stunning what happened to me in Walmart. But God will do what he said, family. He doesn't lie. He does not lie. The word tithe means 10%, and it's the support that we always give to our churches and our pastors to keep the ministry going around the world. The tithe, some people think, is the Old Testament, but Jesus said in the New Testament, even the Pharisees, the rotten religious freaks, even the Pharisees pay tithe. The Bible calls the non-tither a crook. I hate to do that because sometimes I think we don't tithe because we're scared. We're trying to pay bills, trying to pay IRS, trying to buy insurance for our house, trying to repair a car. But I want to pray some harvest. Father, I pray for every tither. Some may be in the Lutheran Church, Catholic, Baptist, Methodist, Church of Christ, Episcopalian, Presbyterian, whatever church they're in. Father, wherever they are sowing the tithe of their income, honor them and bless them. Give them a testimony like you gave me. Father, I've been asking you for 300 people who would help me stay on the radio in these 5 countries, America, Australia, Canada, Mexico, New Zealand. Father, a lot of people don't have extra seeds to sow. Some are trying to buy a car, pay for their house. But I ask you tonight for 12 people who will sow a $100 seed within the next 30 days toward Bible Day, our radio ministry. Honor them. I ask you in the next 30 days, there's somebody wants to sow 200. I don't know who they are. I just feel it in my heart. I don't know who the 12 people are, but everything we have came from you. And you said in one place, Lord, that you would give seed to a sower. I ask you in the next 30 days to give me new partners in our Bible 300. They know who they are. The people listening to me tonight are not rebels. They're not God haters. They love your word. They too believe Malachi 3, Luke 6, Mark 10. They too believe an uncommon seed always creates an uncommon harvest. I'm asking you for 12 phone calls to my phone number in the next 30 days. I ask you to double their seed back to them. Every person who sows $100 in the next 30 days, double that back to them within less than 30 days. Give them a testimony like you've given Mike Murdoch. Amen. My partnership phone number is 41 Bible 300. If you want to sow monthly, mention that to my staff and say, I understand he's given a special gift for those who become monthly partners in his radio ministry. Whatever the seed is, ask for Library 66. It's my ebook reader containing the first 66 books I ever wrote. This book I'm teaching from tonight. I never got around to this list, did I? 55 facts about sowing seeds for a harvest. When I open my hands, God opens his windows. Go to my website, Mike Murdoch Books. Look at book 6. I've written hundreds, but this is book number 6. The 6th book I wrote out of the revelation of the blessing of God. When you call 41 Bible 300, if you want to tell them that you're sowing the $100, and if you don't have it, call in the seed. It may take a few weeks before the God answers that prayer, but you've got to be able to call in seed before you can call in a harvest. 41 Bible 300. While you've got your pen in your hand, remember Box 97, Colleyville, Texas. It's a little town, about 27,000 of us outside of Dallas. Box 97, Colleyville, Texas. 76034. Colleyville is spelled Colley. I'm on live almost every day of the month. Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, TikTok, YouTube, X. Every month I ask the Lord for 3 people who will sow a $1,000 seed that month. That's where I broke the back of poverty. I want to pray for you too. Father, a $1,000 seed is a Solomon seed. He was the one famous for sowing 1,000 sacrifices. Tonight, there may be a Peter, James, and John. Listen to Mike Murdoch. That's where I broke the back of poverty at 36 years old. I don't know who the Peter, James, and John are. They may want to leave it in their will for the Wisdom Church. That's okay too. But Father, there's 3 people I ask you for. Every 30 days I ask you for 3 who will sow $1,000 for the preaching of the gospel. Heaven 600, iHeartRadio, 7 nights a week in 5 countries of the world. Father, I've been told that in these 5 countries we're teaching 7 nights a week. There's over 500 million people. We prayed for the Australian homes where thousands of ladies are homeless. In Jesus' name, I call in your blessing. I wrote a song one time. I believe in the blessing. I believe in my God. Good night, family. I'm anxious to hear from you.
You have been listening to Bible Wisdom with Dr. Mike Murdoch, 7 nights a week at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Remember, Dr. Mike Murdoch writes a new book every month. To receive your free gift copy, call anytime, 909-NEW-BOOK. Our support number is 407-SUPPORT. And remember to visit our website, wisdomcenterchurch.com.